Photogrammetry is the process of creating 3D models with textures of existing objects or spaces by shooting many overlapping photos from different angles. Remake has a fully automatic 3D reconstruction engine. All you need to do is upload all your photos and it does everything to create a textured model for you. To inform shooting better photos for photogrammetry, it's important to understand some of the basics of how the photogrammetry process works behind the scenes. Photogrammetry relies on feature detection. First, the software will go through all of your images and detect common points between any pair of overlapping photos. Many thousands of features will be detected in each pair with significant overlap. Using the 2D features in a pair of photos simultaneously, it is possible to solve for the camera and feature point location in 3D space. Remake simultaneously solves all pairs, creating accurate camera locations and surface points for all the photos submitted. Then it reconstructs the geometry and creates textures using the positions of the cameras. For feature matching to work, just make sure that nothing moves in your scene while you're shooting. Also, make sure to get plenty of overlap between your photos. Some objects will not work with photogrammetry. Transparent, translucent, shiny, heavily specular, or reflective objects all look different when viewed from different angles and can cause the matching algorithms to fail. One solution for these types of objects is to use a matte chalk spray paint you can find in most art stores. This paint is temporary and it can easily be wiped off after your shoot. In this example, the designer wanted to capture a glass skull to test out new design ideas for different finishes. Let's take a look at some of the common shooting strategies. First, let's look at the high-end technique of photo booths. Photo booths have hundreds of cameras in a spherical or cylindrical setup around your object. Often they have flat, diffuse lighting built in as well. They are the perfect solution for shooting moving objects like people, since all cameras fire at the same time. Of course, not everyone is going to have access to a large studio and hundreds of cameras to build a photo booth of their own. But it's a good idea to keep this technique in mind, as you can try to replicate the camera angles and the flat, even lighting when using a single camera. The most common and accessible technique is moving your camera around your subject. For high-quality results when shooting objects, the basic idea is to go around the object shooting full loops of photos in increments of 5 to 15 degrees. If the object is complex and has lots of occlusions, shoot in smaller increments. Make several loops at different heights, then add extra photos to fill in any heavily occluded areas at the end. Any surface on your object must be visible in at least 2 or more photos to be reconstructed in 3D. When shooting your photos, try to fill as much of the frame as possible with the object. For larger objects, or to get higher resolution textures at the end, you can move in closer to your object and shoot in overlapping rows. Just make sure to get plenty of overlap between your rows. A good rule of thumb is 40% overlap. The next shooting strategy is flying a camera on a drone or UAV. This technique is essentially the same as shooting an object on the ground, only all rules of thumb are applied at a larger scale. Keep in mind that although consumer-level drone cameras with fisheye lenses will work, a light mirrorless DSLR will give a huge leap in the 3D reconstruction quality. The next technique is automated turntables. A turntable spins your object in set increments and triggers a stationary camera. The advantage of a turntable is you can move your object to shoot all sides, thus capturing the entire object. For a turntable to work properly, follow these guidelines. Use a perfectly flat background so no stationary features are detected in the background. Use a soft light from the direction of the camera, such as an LED ring light. Frame your photos so any clamping mechanisms are cropped out. To shoot this intricate quadcopter frame, rows were shot every 45 degrees for the top and bottom of the frame. Another option to improve the results with a turntable is to cross-polarize your light. Simply add a linear polarizing film to your light and a circular polarizer to your lens. This will remove most specular highlights. To shoot this old kitchen grinder, notice that we aligned several rows to see inside the holes on the top. This enabled us to capture the entire inside of the grinder. The final technique is moving your object manually. The idea with this technique is to make a curved solid background with no features and manually move your object. Like the turntable, this technique captures all sides of your object. It also relies on a soft light source from the direction of the camera and absolutely no features in the background. This is Dennis Martin with Autodesk. Thanks for watching.